This is the gentle hour. Rainy evening soup. Rain falls steadily behind you. It has deepened now, heavier than before. You can hear it on the pavement, on the hedges, a soft, constant rush. A low roll of thunder moves somewhere far off. Not sharp, but just a distant reminder. You stand at the door with your shopping bags in both hands. The plastic handles press into your fingers slightly. You shift your weight. You put one of the bags down and take your keys from your pocket. You slide the back door key into the lock. Familiar resistance, then a turn. The door opens inward. Warm light meets you. You pick up the bag on the floor and step inside. The smell of home greets you. Dry, still, safe. You nudge the door closed with your foot. The latch clicks firmly into place. Rain softens instantly. You set the bags down on the counter. They crinkle as they settle. You pause. Your hands feel slightly cold. Your fingertips a little damp. You take off your coat and hang it on an empty hook. Your boots have left wet marks on the tiles. You walk back to the mat, giving them a firm scrape. You bend down and tug your laces undone in one smooth motion. The shoe rack rattles as you place the wet boots down. The heated tiles are warm beneath your feet. You stand for a moment to feel the warmth spread through your socks into your soles. You turn toward the sink. The tap turns with a soft resistance. Water runs, cool at first. You place your fingers beneath it. The water runs over the backs of your hands. You turn the handle slowly. The temperature shifts, warms. You press the soap pump. A small, soft drop lands in your palm. You bring your hands together, slowly. You don't rush. Palms together, then fingers, sliding between each other. You rub the backs of your hands. Your thumbs circle into your palms. The scent rises gently. Clean, subtle, familiar. You lift your hands slightly, breathing in the floral scent through your nose, then returning your hands to the water. The warmth deepens now, comforting and pleasant. Foam loosens, slips away. You rotate your wrists. You watch your hands rinse clean. Droplets gather at your fingertips. They fall one by one. You turn off the tap. The sound of rain fills the space again. You reach for the towel, dry, slightly coarse. You press it into your palms, across your fingers, between them. Your hands dry quickly. You hang the towel back in place. You pause before straightening the towel so it is perfectly parallel with the counter. You walk over to the shopping bags. They open with a soft crackle. You begin to unpack. A paper bag first. You unfold it carefully. Inside, potatoes. You lift one. It sits solid in your hand. Cool and slightly dusty. You bring it closer. A faint, earthy smell. Ground, rain, soil. You turn it once in your fingers, then set it down gently. Another potato, then another. They land softly against the worktop. Next, leeks. You slide them out. The outer layers feel slightly waxy, cool to the touch, fresh, green and vibrant. You squeeze the stem between your fingers, feeling the firmness. You set them down beside the potatoes. Next from the bag, a packet of butter wrapped in foil. A carton of vegetable stock. A small tub of single cream. A single brown onion. And a freshly baked tiger loaf. You lift the bread. The crust is rough between your fingers. Crackled. You press lightly. It gives just slightly, then springs back. You bring it closer and smell. A sweet, baked scent. Soft, familiar. You set it down carefully. The kitchen is calm. The rain steady. A faint rumble again in the distance. You breathe in once, then out. You turn to the vegetables now. A large wooden chopping board leans against the wall. You pick it up. The board is heavy and smooth to the touch. It makes a hollow clunk as you place it down onto the counter. You open the cutlery drawer and lift a peeler from it. You place it down on the chopping board. On the worktop sits a knife block. You pull out a large, sharp chef's knife. You rest the flat side of the blade on the back of your hand. The metal is cold and refreshing. You set the knife down and pick up a potato and the peeler. You begin. A smooth motion downward. The skin lifts away in thin strips, falling lightly onto the counter. You rotate the potato. The rhythmic scraping is soft. You don't rush. Each section is intentional. One potato done, then the next. A small pile of peelings builds. You scoop the trimmings up in your hands, carefully emptying them into the small food bin on the counter. You pick up the knife. It is heavy in your hand. You begin to chop. A firm press downward. The blade meets the board with a soft, steady crack. Chunks form, rough, uneven. You keep chopping until the pieces are small. You toss the potato chunks into a large metal pan and set it to the side. You move on to the leeks. First you slice off the root end. Then you slice thin circles down the length of the stalk. A softer sound now, light, slightly hollow. The smell lifts again, a fresh herbaceous aroma. You place the leeks into the pan with the potatoes and rinse them under the tap. Swishing your hand around to loosen any dirt. You tip the pan up to pour out the dirty water. You hold the vegetables in place with your hand like a dam, allowing the water to pass without losing the pieces in the sink. You set the pan down on the worktop. Only the onion remains to be diced. You split it down the middle with one solid chop. The crispy outer layers have loosened a little. You pull at the edge of the outer layers. They peel down to the root, then release with one swift tear. You place each half down flat and dice them into small squares. You set the diced onion to the side and reach for another large pan. You set the pan down on the hob and light the stove. A click from the gas ignition. A flame catches, low and steady. The flame engulfs the ring in seconds, warming up the base of the pan. The butter goes in. It meets the metal, begins to soften. Then it melts fully. You add the leeks, potatoes, and onion to the pan. A soft sizzle. You remove a wooden spoon from the container on the side. You stir everything together, making sure everything is coated in butter. The vegetables have a glossy sheen now. You reach for the salt and pepper grinders. With 2 crunchy twists, you add a good amount of sea salt to the pan. You repeat with the black pepper. The scent of crushed peppercorns is warm and earthy. You inhale deeply through your nose, appreciating the scent. You place the lid on the pan and leave it to steam on a gentle heat. Now you wait. You look around the kitchen. The rain continues outside. A flash of lightning briefly lights up the garden, followed by a distant rumble of thunder. You move to the window, resting your hand on the windowsill. You watch the rain moving down the glass. Droplets gather, merging, sliding. You focus on one particular droplet, tracing its movement downwards. You stand still, just listening to the rain. Another flash in the distance, followed by a low rumble. You return to the pot, a gentle bubbling now. You stir. The vegetables are softening. You return to the knife block and remove a large bread knife. You set the knife down carefully on the chopping board and fetch the bread. You place it down parallel with the edge of the board. You pick up the knife again and slice the serrated edge into the loaf. The blade bites into the crust as you saw back and forth. A subtle, nutty aroma is released as you slice down to the chopping board. You cut a few thick slices. You set them aside for later. You pick up the carton of vegetable stock, carefully opening it. You lift the lid of the pan and slowly pour the stock in. A deeper sound emanates from the pan now. You bring it to a simmer. You place the lid down on the pan, slightly offset. Steam begins to rise. The soft bubbling. The quiet room. You return to the window again to watch the rain. After a while, you return to the stove. The soup is ready. You turn off the heat. You take a hand blender from the lower cupboard and plug it into the wall socket. You lower the blades into the pan and press the button. The texture changes as you maneuver the blender through the soup. Soft, thick. You leave some pieces whole, real, rustic. You fetch the cream and pour in a small amount. It spreads slowly through the soup. You stir. The colour lightens slightly. You put the blender down and fetch a bowl from the top cupboard. Then a ladle from the pot on the side. You lower the ladle into the pan, scooping up the thick soup. You lower it into the bowl carefully. One more scoop for a good portion. Steam rises from the bowl. Warm, comforting. You carry it to the table. The bowl settles with a soft, solid sound. You fetch a small plate from the top cupboard and place the bread slices on it. You open the cutlery drawer and remove a large soup spoon. You carry the bread and spoon over to the table and set them down next to the soup. You pull out the chair and sit. The chair shifts slightly beneath you. Your feet rest flat against the floor, still warm. Rain continues outside. A quiet rumble again in the distance. You pick up the spoon, dip it in, lift. Steam touches your face. You pause, then take a small sip. Warm, simple. You set the spoon down. You pick up a slice of bread and tear off a corner. The crust resists slightly, then gives. You dip it into the soup. Let it soak, then eat. You sit there eating soup. Nothing else to do. Nowhere else to be. Just this moment. Rain on the window, the warmth of the soup, the quiet of the room. You take another slow breath in, pause, then out, and you stay here for a while. If this time felt grounding and you'd like more moments like it, you're welcome to follow along so it's here whenever you need it. And if this episode felt especially helpful, you can save it to return to the ritual whenever you like. Thank you for being here.